Hello, everyone. Welcome to Testimony Tuesday. My name is Kim Kraft, and I'm a parishioner at All Souls Catholic Church. I'm also a Third Order Franciscan, or what's called a lay Franciscan. We live, we try to live the gospel through the spirituality of Saint Francis. Here he is. What does that mean exactly? Our order's going to be 800 years old. Next year, St. Francis founded the Third Order in 1221, and I was hoping maybe some of Franciscan spirituality might be useful to you during our troubled times. St. Francis himself lived in the early 1200s, and it was a time of great warfare and pestilence. The Crusades were going on. Uh, People, if you lived to be in your 30s, that was considered a good life. People would have a dozen children because maybe 3 or 4 of them might make it to adulthood. There was extreme poverty, there was disease, illness everywhere you turn. And I think if we were to say to him today, oh, Francis, we have this global pandemic going on, and we've got riots and protests going on, and it's very scary, he might laugh and say, oh, yeah, that sounds like any Tuesday in my time. But he wouldn't laugh to make fun of us. He would laugh to say, I understand what you're going through. I've been there. I've done that myself. And how could he help us today? Francis dealt with the world and the times that he lived in a very interesting way. He tried very hard to be of the world, rely on the world for his safety and protection, and the more he did that, the worse it got. He tried being a knight. That didn't work out very well. He tried running his father's business. That didn't work out very well. The more he sought faith and comfort in protection and security from the world, the worse it got for him. Francis finally solved the problem for himself by what I would call a radical reliance on God, to the point where, in a shocking display, St. Francis, as a young man, was being accused by his own father for theft. Francis has stolen from his father's shop a bunch of very expensive cloth materials that he then turned around and sold without his father's permission to take the money and give it to the poor to help take care of them. And his father literally sued him. And in the trial, which took place in front of the bishop in a big courtyard, Francis agreed that I'm guilty. And then, to the shock of everyone, he took off all of his clothes, gave them to his father, and said, I renounce my inheritance. I give you all the clothes that you've given me. Everything I have, I give back to you. Supposedly the bishop ran and put a cloak over Francis. But Francis at that minute determined, I am going to trust 100% in God to take care of me, not the world. He walked out of there and said goodbye to everything of the world. God did take care of him. He had an amazing life as not just the saint that we know, but as a mystic. He would become so enraptured, so close to God in prayer, that people would recount there'd be a bright light around him. He's said to have performed many, many miracles during his life, and it was constantly his great connection and love with God. He literally became a hollow tube. The Native Americans have that term, hollow tube. You must be a hollow tube to let the Spirit flow through you. And once you're filled with that sense of God, the world isn't such a scary place anymore, because you truly, not just you have God on your side, you have God within you, flowing out of you. Francis thought a lot about the gospel that said, if I can make the fields look beautiful and I can take care of the birds, how much more can I do for you? But we have to let God in. We have to be those hollow tubes. We have to have that radical reliance on God. So like Francis does, I'm choosing to put my faith in God's protection more so than the world's protection. I wish everybody every blessing, and thank you for listening.